What if Anakin Skywalker was expelled from the Jedi Order? Let's start this story during the second year of the Clone War. Quickly check out our sale over at Fantasy Sabers. We're giving away 15% off with code Christmas, so don't miss out. Anakin was already famous around the galaxy for his heroics during the Clone War, and was known as the hero with no fear throughout the HoloNet by trillions of people around the galaxy. He and Padme had kept their relationship secret, hidden from everyone, but that was about to change. Palpatine decided to send his spies to the residence of Anakin and Padme's home to capture footage of them clearly showing that they're in a relationship. This is then anonymously sent through to the Jedi Council, who review the footage and is brought up at their next council meeting. Palpatine did this for one purpose. He wanted to turn the Jedi against Anakin and vice versa, which would bring the Chosen One closer to his side. Obi-Wan is asked for his opinions about the footage and admits that there was speculation in his mind, but he didn't know the result for certain. Windu states that he believes Anakin should be expelled for this clear deception, and they decide to vote on it. The 12 members on the council voted, with the results being 7 in favor of expelling Anakin and 5 in favor of him remaining. Anakin is summoned in front of the council the next day, and the footage is played in front of him, and he's asked to explain what they're seeing, and there's nothing he can say, and admits that he's married to Senator Amidala. The council couldn't believe the words coming from Anakin's mouth, but Anakin couldn't believe what came next. As Windu stated, Anakin was in direct violation of the Jedi Code, and because he did this willingly for many years, he would be expelled from the Jedi Order. Anakin couldn't believe this, as he turns to Obi-Wan, who can't hold eye contact with him. He's the Jedi's greatest warrior in the Clone War, won the most victories, and single-handedly might have changed the course of the war. How could they expel him now? For simply expressing his love. Anakin chucks his saber onto the floor and tells the council they will regret this mistake, and leaves and goes straight to Padme to tell her what happened. Palpatine's plan had worked. He plans to use Anakin's expulsion to both further turn the galaxy against the Jedi, since Anakin was so famous, but also turn Anakin against the council. The revelation of Anakin and Padme's marriage was a huge scandal around the galaxy, and everyone was talking about it for weeks. This is exactly why they kept their relationship secret, and didn't want this to happen. But Anakin starts to believe that this is for the best, and talks with Padme. They now no longer have to hide their relationship, and can be completely free, not live in the constant fear that they're going to be exposed. But Padme thinks something different. She thinks Anakin needed to be a Jedi to help people, that this was his true purpose, and without it, he would become lost. Obi-Wan came to visit, telling Anakin he was very sorry and did his best to convince the council to let him stay, but to no success. He asks Anakin what he's going to do now, who tells him that he's not sure, but will spend some much overdue time with Padme and figure this out. The next day, Anakin is called into Palpatine's office, who ridicules the Jedi for the decision they've made, that they'll regret expelling their greatest warrior, but tells Anakin with this, he has an opportunity for him, and offers for Anakin to become his personal head of security. Anakin jumps at this request. This means he can remain on Coruscant and be close to both Padme and also his mentor Palpatine, whom he cares for like the father he never had. Anakin starts his new role, coordinating Palpatine's security as he travels around Coruscant, but also the galaxy. But Palpatine treated Anakin more than just his head of security. He would let him sit in on business dealings, meetings, as well as ask his opinion on various matters, seeking out his Jedi instincts. Anakin got to spend more time with Padme on Coruscant, and as a result, after only 2 months back on the planet as Palpatine's head of security, Padme became pregnant, and it was revealed they were expecting a child. Anakin was still famous, as well as Padme, and this news spread throughout the HoloNet around the galaxy. Anakin being Palpatine's head of security only made him more famous and loved. People loved Palpatine, and him showing support to Anakin also increased his approval rate throughout the Republic. Anakin and Padme were both excited, and Anakin now believed that him being expelled from the Jedi Order was for the best, that he can be open and free with the woman he loves and start a family. However, this was the moment Palpatine was waiting for. Over the months in which Anakin was head of security, he had started manipulating him. He'd already begun to turn him against the Jedi, with them removing him from the Order, but he needed him to fear the Jedi. He told Anakin many things, but after the recent reveal of Padme's pregnancy, he started laying the seeds that his family has become a threat to the Jedi Order, that him having a family is seen as another path in the Force, alternate to the Jedi path, in which had led Anakin to become as powerful as he is. Palpatine was attempting to subtly convince Anakin that the Jedi will come for not only him, but for his child, and take them from him. Children of the Chosen One would be too much for the Jedi to pass up, and slowly Anakin started to believe this fact. Palpatine compounded this by using one of his dark side skills, Force Illusion, to plant nightmares in Anakin's mind. These visions frightened Anakin, as they showed the Jedi Order coming for his child, lightsabers drawn, and ready to kidnap his baby directly from Padme's clutches on the day she gives birth. Anakin's fear started to rise. He cannot lose his child, and he will not let the Jedi steal them from him. Palpatine starts to discuss with Anakin how he and the Jedi Council are at odds, that he believes the Council has too much unchecked power, and he wishes he knew what they would be thinking and discussing in their meetings, but tells Anakin that he's curious what they would have said about himself, that he would pay a large sum of money to hear what they've said about Padme being pregnant, but tells Anakin he thinks he already knows. Anakin decides to tell Palpatine about the nightmares he's been having of the Jedi stealing his child from Padme after she gives birth. This is what Palpatine was wanting to hear, as he started his true manipulation. He tells Anakin that these dreams cannot be ignored, that with his power as the Chosen One, these dreams likely resemble the future. Palpatine vows to help Anakin, and proclaims he will not let the Jedi take his child. Padme's giving birth in 2 months' time, and Anakin and Palpatine starts preparing. Anakin gets his hand on a kyber crystal from Palpatine's collection of rare stones and gems, and constructs a new lightsaber, yellow this time. He had continued his training in the Force during this time, and kept his combat skills as sharp as ever. His dreams continued on, as he saw the Jedi come for his child every time he slept, which only increased his resolve. Palpatine passed a new bill in the Senate that gave the Chancellor's office, rather than the Senate, jurisdiction and authority over the Jedi Order, so they must obey his orders, and a failure to do so would result in a breach of Republic law. Palpatine had planted his own governors all around the galaxy, and had many senators in his pocket, so any bill presented would pass into law without failure. This put him at odds with the Jedi Council, who feared Palpatine's power was too much for one individual. The Council feared that Darth Sidious was making his move in the shadows, and increased their hunt for his identity. They tracked Sidious back to the industrial facility on Coruscant, in which he used as a base for many years, and found a communicating tunnel to 500 Republica, which confirmed to the Council that Sidious must be a lead member of the Republic, and what Dooku told Kenobi all those years ago was true. Padme's birth was upon them. Both Anakin and Palpatine had been preparing, but Palpatine had been preparing in a completely different way. He wanted the Jedi Council to suspect that Sidious was a top member of the Republic, and has Mas Amida to suggest to the Jedi Council that they should infiltrate Dooku's home on Sereno to look for proof of who Sidious is, just at a convenient time where Dooku wasn't even there. Windu went himself with 3 other Jedi in case they came into contact with Dooku. They break into his office and use a droid to download all of the files in his computer, and found conversations between Dooku and Palpatine, talking about how together they will ensure the Sith will rule the galaxy, confirming that Palpatine is Darth Sidious. This shocked Windu, and he sent news to the Council immediately. But this was exactly what Palpatine wanted. He wanted the Jedi to find out he was Sidious at this very moment, which he would use to turn Anakin to his side. Padme's water had just broken, and she entered labor, whilst Anakin was there close by watching, waiting for the Jedi to arrive with his new lightsaber clutched in his hand ready. He'd do whatever it takes to protect and save his child from the Jedi's clutches. Palpatine arrived shortly after, asking how it's going, and vows he'll help to stop the Jedi from taking his child, that his Chancellor's office has authority over the Jedi and will make it illegal for them to do so. But Palpatine admits that this might not be enough, since the Jedi are relentless and powerful. Only 5 minutes later, the Jedi arrived, 28 in total, 8 Masters and 4 Knights, led by Agen Kolar and Saisi Tin. They enter the hospital and ignite their lightsabers. The situation looks exactly how Anakin saw in his nightmares, the Jedi coming for his child, and willing to take them by force, perfectly engineered by Palpatine. However, instead of them being here for Anakin's child, they were really here to arrest Palpatine, or Darth Sidious, since they had just found out his identity from Windu. However, in Anakin's rage and fear, the difference doesn't matter. Palpatine turns to Anakin and pulls out his own lightsaber and tells Skywalker they will take them together. Palpatine ignites his crimson blade and Anakin follows suit with his yellow. Palpatine acted in a flash, taking out 3 of the Jedi in the first second as Anakin joined him. Although they were outnumbered, the Jedi were no match for them, and they successfully defeated each and every one of them. Palpatine turned to Anakin, telling him more Jedi will be on the way. They are relentless, and won't stop until they're both dead, and they have his child for himself. Anakin agrees, and asks Palpatine what they should do, who tells Skywalker that every Jedi is now a traitor and enemy to the Republic, and must be dealt with before they can attempt to overthrow the Republic. Together they start making their way towards the Jedi Temple, and Palpatine executes Order 66 on the way, and the clones start marching towards the temple. Together Anakin and Palpatine storm the Jedi Temple, and start attacking the Jedi inside. Palpatine carefully coaches Anakin through this, beginning his dark side training, as Anakin begins to truly channel the dark side for the first time. Anakin begins using his anger and fear to his advantage, channeling these emotions for new power, which helped him and Palpatine together defeat all of the Jedi in the temple, their greatest victory being over Yoda, whom they defeated together. After this, Anakin returns to Padme's side at the perfect time, as both Luke and Leia are born, and they welcome the first members into the Skywalker family. Anakin couldn't be more happy, but Padme asks him what happened, as she sees the Jedi Temple in flames on the news, and Anakin tells her the truth, or at least what he thinks the truth is, that the Jedi came to steal their children from them, but he and Palpatine stopped them, and the Jedi had been deemed traitors of the Republic. Padme couldn't believe it. She never thought the Jedi would do such a thing. She asks about Obi-Wan, and Anakin says he doesn't know, but simply hopes he remains loyal to the Chancellor. Anakin leaves Padme for the time being, happy that she's safe from the Jedi. He goes to the Senate chambers and stands by Palpatine's side as he explains the Jedi's treachery to the galaxy, but how in this state of political uproar, to ensure a safe and secure society, the Republic will be transformed into the first galactic empire, led by him, with Anakin Skywalker by his side, the man who helped him stop the Jedi. The chamber roars in applause, and Palpatine's plans are complete. He only had one thing left to do. Anakin and Palpatine spend some time in the new Imperial office, coordinating the movements of the clones around the galaxy, when Anakin leaves to go back to Padme's bed at the hospital. But something was wrong. She wasn't there. Anakin walked around in confusion, asking the staff, but none of them knew. Anakin instantly fell into a sense of panic, and felt something was wrong through the Force. He heard his comlink buzz, and it was Palpatine's voice, who reported that Mace Windu has been spotted with a few rogue senators attempting to escape, and with them was Padme and his children. The Jedi had taken them. Anakin froze in anger, asking Palpatine where they were, who told Anakin they were last spotted in the industrial region. He tells Skywalker to go there immediately, and will follow close behind, and together they can save his family. Anakin steals the closest speeder as he races at top speeds towards his destination. He's connected to his children through the Force and can feel their location as to where they are. Of course, Windu has them, the council member that has always hated him the most. Anakin's getting close, within 100 meters now, as he lands his speeder in front of a small group attempting to flee, and in front, he can see Mace Windu next to Bail Organa. Behind them were many other senators, but he couldn't see Padme or his children. But before he could have a greater look, Windu was upon him, purple lightsaber drawn and attacking with all his might. Anakin reacts fast, his rage growing exponentially, and accompanying this, his power. Windu activated his Vapart immediately, his specialized Form 7 lightsaber technique, and attempted to use Anakin's fear against him. But Windu made a mistake. Anakin's fear was suppressed by his unrelenting fury. His mind simply didn't have enough capacity for fear at the moment, so couldn't use his Vapad on him. He hated Windu. He had always been jealous of Anakin and his power, and fought back, and caught Windu across the abdomen with the tip of his saber, and sent him flying back towards the group of senators. Windu got up onto one knee, and Padme rushed forward from the crowd with their children in her arms, screaming at Anakin to stop, that this isn't who he is, that he's been tricked by Palpatine to join him and destroy the Jedi. Anakin tells her that it's not true, that he saw the Jedi themselves come for their children. But Windu laughs, calling Anakin a fool, that they were coming for Palpatine since they just learned that he was Darth Sidious and weren't coming for his children. Anakin stumbles back. No, they must be lying. They're trying to trick him. And Windu makes his final mistake, laughing at Anakin, saying that he's always been weak and a slave to his emotions. Slave. The one word you shouldn't speak around Anakin. Skywalker didn't know how he did it. He simply channeled the Force, powered by his rage, and sparks of lightning escaped from his fingertips and cast across the street directly towards Windu. His vision went white, the lightning as blinding as a supernova explosion. It lasted 5 seconds, and he closed his fists and opened his eyes, as his vision was filled with a group of bodies lying motionless. His lightning hadn't just hit Windu, but ricocheted to everyone in the group. Anakin rushed over to Padme, cupping her cheek in his hand, as he couldn't sense life in her. Tears begin to well up in his eyes, as he can't believe what he's done. He couldn't have done that, not to Padme. He turns her over and starts to hear baby cries, as Luke and Leia emerge, unscathed from his lightning, shielded by Padme's body. He embraced them in a tight hug, as he feels a hand on his shoulder, and he looks to see Palpatine with a sad look on his face. He apologizes to Anakin, telling him that this was the Jedi's fault, that they manipulated Padme in an attempt to steal his children. The Jedi really were relentless. Anakin puts his head down and sobs, whilst in Palpatine's mind, he couldn't have been happier. Padme was a tether to the light inside Anakin, and the last tether had been destroyed. He tells Anakin to come, my son, and together, Palpatine and Anakin, with Luke and Leia, leave the site of Padme's death and return to the Senate. The Empire. No, the entire galaxy was theirs, and with Anakin, Luke and Leia, Palpatine had ensured the Sith would rule forever. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch what if Anakin and Padme started the Empire, or what if Ahsoka had nightmares of Anakin becoming Vader. Don't forget to check out Fantasy Sabers for the best sabers on the market, high quality NeoPixel replicas and Padawan sabers. Please like and subscribe, and may the Force be with you.